With Seahawks mandatory minicamp in the books, it is time to break down our latest 53-man roster projection for your Seattle Seahawks. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seahawks Today. And before we dive in too far into today's show, all month long here on Seahawks Today, we are in a comment battle with our 49ers channel. And you can see we got a little bit of a lead, but we want to make sure we run up the score here and stick it to the 49ers report, Chase Sr. and company, all those San Francisco 40 frauds over there. If you're ready for the NFL season to start, spam S in the comments section. On game days, we spam S. It's our calling card here on Seahawks Today. Spam S for Seahawks. You're ready for Seahawks football. Get in that comment section. Get those S's going. We'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with the quarterbacks, Geno Smith and Sam Howell. I expect the Seahawks to go with two quarterbacks. P.J. Walker, if he sticks around in any capacity, would be a practice squad quarterback. Could be elevated, potentially, if something were to happen to Geno Smith or Sam Howell injury-wise. But I would be very surprised. John Schneider's never been one to like having more than two quarterbacks on the active roster. The running back position, I think Seattle goes with four running backs, with Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet being the bell cows, if you will. Kenny McIntosh, he was not healthy for most of last season. He should be your third down back, a receiving threat, if you will. And then I got our first UDFA making the 53-man roster. Watch out for George Holani from Boise State to be that number 4 running back for Seattle. And think about this, too. I know some people are saying, why not take just 3 running backs and save the roster spot elsewhere? The Seahawks can tell you firsthand that running backs get injured, get banged up more than any other position. We've seen this team with some bad luck. I think they need some depth. I think they go 4. Wide receiver, I got 5 wide receivers making the active roster, but we've seen the Seahawks over the years keep a number of guys on that practice squad, get the game day elevations and all that. I would expect it to be the big 4 returning from last year: Metcalf, Lockett, JSN, and Bobo. And then Chenault, who they signed from the Carolina Panthers this offseason, gets that other spot. And they go with 5 receivers. But this could change as the season goes on. There could be points in the year we could see more than 5 on the active roster. But I think these are the 5 they go with to start and then go with from there. So that means that I have the Seahawks finally cutting ties with Dee Eskridge. I do not think that the Seahawks feel like they need to keep a guy around that cannot be productive when it comes to being a receiver, that's a special team specialist when you got other guys that can return kicks. And then on top of that, the injury issues, the off-the-field stuff, I think they ultimately cut Dee Eskridge. Do you agree with me? Will the Seahawks cut Dee Eskridge? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Y for yes, in for no. Let's go to the tight end position. I think Seattle goes with 4, including 2 rookies. Noah Fant going to be your lead tight end. Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson gone now. A lot is going to be asked of Noah Fant, especially in this Ryan Grubb offense. He needs to have a big year. You bring in Pharaoh Brown. He's going to be a primary blocking tight end for Seattle. A.J. Borner, I got some questions about. They're hoping he can be a red zone threat. And then there's Jack Westover, our second UDFA making this list out of Washington, was coached up by Ryan Grubb there with the Washington Huskies. So he already knows this offense. He also brings a receiving threat. He would be your number 2 receiving tight end for this Seahawks system, especially if they go 12 personnel. The offensive line for Seattle, I think these are your 5 starters. I think it's Cross, Tomlinson, Oluwatimi, Haynes, and Lucas as your starting 5. And one thing to keep in mind, to watch for, depending on Lucas's status, they hope that he's back for training camp, but there is a possibility, until he's fully healthy, until we see it with our own eyes, and I got 4 eyes, I can tell you firsthand, that Abraham Lucas begins the year on the PUP list. I don't think we can rule that out. That could potentially could open up another roster spot elsewhere if that's the case. Then you go to the backups. George Fant, he is your primary swing tackle, filling in for Cross or Lucas if need be. Anthony Bradford, Nick Harris, who the Seahawks signed from the Cleveland Browns. Also with this new system, the Seahawks aren't going to use a traditional fullback. If they need one, Nick Harris is capable of that. Stone Forsythe there. And then the rookie, LeMahieu, coming in from Utah, the 6th-round pick. They've moved him around a little bit, playing some guard and some tackle. We'll see what ultimately the future holds for him there. How would you grade the Seahawks 53-man roster? How are you feeling about this group heading into 2024? Way in the comment section, tell me what you think. I think it's a solid B or B+ for this entire roster as a whole. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section below. Let's go defense now. Let's start with the outside linebackers / edge rusher positions. Uchenna Nwosu is back fully healthy. He's been a full participant in offseason workouts. Boye Mafe coming off an exciting second season where he set the Seahawks single-season games in a row sack record, that is. 7 in a row, had 9 total for the year. Draymond Jones, they're shifting him over from defensive end over to outside linebacker, but with the way the Seahawks are moving guys around, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of him still playing some defensive end as well. Darrell Taylor I have making the roster, although there's question marks about his abilities beyond being a pass rusher. Mike Macdonald wants to see more out of him. And then Derek Hall coming off his rookie campaign out of Auburn, a power rusher. Derek Hall looking to take another step forward here in 2024. Let's go to the defensive line now, an area that has become a strength overnight for the Seattle Seahawks this year. Leonard Williams, he's got a new contract. He was paid a lot of money. We heard John Schneider say earlier this week that he felt like Leonard Williams was their big free agent signing of the offseason. Jarran Reed, we'll see what his role entails. He's got experience both at defensive end and defensive tackle. Byron Murphy, your first-round pick out of the University of Texas. He's expected to play a significant role right away. Jonathan Hankins, I think, is a solid backup. He played under AD there in Dallas. He comes in with tons of experience. And then you add in the young guys, Mike Morris and Cameron Young into the equation. Young is banged up right now. We'll see if these guys can take steps forward and get more involved in the Seahawks defense. Inside linebacker, this is where you lack a little depth right now. Jerome Baker and Tyrel Dodson are both out at the moment, suffering injuries. We heard Mike Macdonald say this week that the expectation is both guys are back in time for training camp, but it does put them behind the 8 ball when it comes to learning this defensive system. Jon Rhattigan had a very good minicamp. According to Mike Macdonald, he impressed, made the most of his opportunity. I expect a restructuring of sorts on his contract, though. I don't think the Seahawks are paying him $3 million. I think that they'll rework that, probably release him, then re-sign him for about $1 million instead. And then there's the rookie, Tyrese Knight. And with Knight, we heard that he could be playing some outside linebacker potentially, but with the lack of depth at the inside linebacker position, I think that's where he's more likely going to be in this Seahawks defense. And I would expect him to get a decent amount of playing time right away for the 4th-round pick out of UTEP. And then that begs the question. People want to know, do the Seahawks need to add another inside linebacker? With the injuries that are there, the lack of depth as is, do they need one more? What do you guys think? Type S for sign, pay for pass if you think Seattle should add another linebacker or not. All right, let's go to the cornerback room now. Devin Witherspoon establishing himself as one of the leaders of this Seahawks defense. And we heard earlier this week Mike Macdonald called him the smartest player in all of the NFL. Some big praise for Devin Witherspoon, who'll be your starting nickelback. On one of the outside corner spots will be Reek Woolen, who is looking to rebound off of a disappointing sophomore campaign, struggled tackling in particular. He's got work to do to get back to the level that he was at a rookie, but he's looked pretty good throughout the offseason. Mike Jackson and Trey Brown competing for the other outside corner spot. We'll see where they go there. Should be competitive right down to the wire between those two. And then the rookies, the Auburn Tigers, Nehemiah Pritchett and DJ James also making the roster as well. A lot of excitement for both those guys coming in. The safety position, Jarek Reed will begin the year on the PUP list. He is not likely to be healthy when the season begins, which opens up a roster spot for now with him holding that down. And you have your new guys, Rayshawn Jenkins and Kayvon Wallace come in. Also, keep in mind, Wallace, he's got experience at the corner spot, so they could move him around a bit. Coby Bryant, also back. He's got experience at the corner position as well. We'll see what that entails. I really like Rayshawn Jenkins. I thought he was very good with the Jacksonville Jags. Julian Love coming off a Pro Bowl season last year, the best year of his career. I think he's going to get extended pretty soon as well. And then the special teams unit, one of the best special teams units in the NFL with Michael Dixon, Jason Myers, holding things down, Chris Stoll at the long snapper position. So there you have it. That is our full 53-man roster projection for your Seattle Seahawks. What's the biggest need for Seattle right now? What do they still need to address before training camp begins? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.